Yes, sir.
Hey there. Hi, everyone. Yarn and I are going to talk about self-acceptance today because that is your life mission and it is what you're meant to live. And when you do it, you live a really great life. And that's what we're going to talk about. Um, so, this is also referring to the channeling session that we had yesterday, which I have yet to hear. I'm going to go and find it. And it's called Find Your Purpose. And it was a full moon, an eclipse, and it was incredibly powerful. And so much information came through that I have to kind of start sharing this with everyone because self-acceptance means coming to understand who you are, your life purpose, why you're on this earth, why you were born. And we all have that. But it's going to show up differently for every single person. It's going to be because of who you are, what your DNA is when you were born, what country you came from, how you decided to come into the world, all of that. But then discovering your life purpose and living it means going within and becoming your authentic self, which is something that can be really challenging at times, as it was for me. But now I know we're in a different place and I'm going to accept myself today, which it was really evident after listening to that channeling session from yesterday, which was quite surprising. And ask me about it.
Mhm. Yeah, Roger had a big day, and um, what I found is that, and I had that before too, Roger. Like, someone wanted me, like, I had a session with someone like over a year ago,
Hmm.
like 1.5 years ago or so, when I was in Bali, and she wanted to have me, like, and she asked me, and how is it going to be? Are you telling me my future?
Hmm.
She asked me that exact question, and I'm like, I
Hmm.
ain't here to tell you your future. You have infinite possibilities in the future.
Yes.
So, like, who am I to tell you? And I said to her right away, if you go to a medium and and this medium is telling you your future,
Hmm.
um, like the most isn't going to happen. And a
Hmm.
good medium, like I have one friend. I met one woman
Hmm.
in Bali too, actually a few weeks after that happened. And I had a 3 to 4 hour session with her.
Hmm.
She was looking at my palms, she was looking at my fingernails, she was doing numerology, she was doing tarot and the meditation at the end. Like we went deep.
Hmm.
And she did it in a way that I haven't experienced it before, or I haven't heard of it yet, because it just flew. And like I didn't say anything to her. And she talked about things even in the tarot
Hmm.
that were going on in the present moment. She wasn't in the future, she was in here.
Hmm.
She said, I still have energy of cigarettes in me. Which was true. I started smoking again back after that one.
Hmm.
So like and like there was another thing with a girlfriend of like that I had a girlfriend in that time when I was in Bali.
Hmm.
And she said like there's a third person in the game, like, and she didn't know what because my heart was with another woman at this time. So like those type of psychics or those types of informations, let me
Hmm.
say like put the psychics, the mediumship away, but like those type of information is what you're looking for, what you have to look for. What's current? If you have, if you go, this to anyone listening right now, and I'm serious with this. Because it cannot be that you go to someone and want to have them tell your future, and then you kind of strive to achieve exactly that future. What if this future isn't actually to your best, and there's something way, way better in store of you, and your ego tries to achieve something that isn't in your highest or isn't for your highest? So I think I gave enough content and like information right now for you, Roger, to keep talking about it.
There is I received, we have artificial intelligence now. And so yesterday, Stan took the channeling session and ran it through this new process that they have where you can create a podcast where it analyzes what you did and all of that. And it's crazy. It explained that session much better than what I could have done. But it explained what we're all moving through and how we all have to decide to own our consciousness, because that's the only place we experience ourselves. So as I listened to that last night, it was like tears came to me because it was explaining what I've been trying to tell everyone about what was happening in the world, which I had known because I've written it all, because I'd received it all. I received all that information, but accepting I had done that was really challenging because then I'll look at people and they say, no, they don't believe it. We have disbelief, and that's the problem. So when I got up this morning too, and I'm going to put this with the video because I'm going to upload this later. There's an The universe is aligned. I'm just going to say all of this because people will get it. And throughout time, it has been aligned in their energies that control what we do, how we act, how we respond, our emotions, and all of that. So, whenever we happen to be living, there is a general level of consciousness that we all access as humans, as humankind. But then somebody comes in and does something a little different. And so now we access more. And now we start to evolve and expand because someone demonstrated something that it was never done before, that had never been shown. But for that person who's doing this thing that has never been done and bringing it to the world, which is what we're all meant to do, it's challenging because it's like, who is this and what is it? So this morning I get up and my Wilhelm says, okay, we'll prove it to you. And so it's September the 18th. They said, go back to September the 18th of 2008. I go, why? And they said, the messages will be aligned because there was an energetic astrological change that happened then during that year. And many people felt it because we had a big financial crisis globally, I mean, everywhere, but especially here. And so there were energies that were happening. We're moving through a similar kind of thing, not the same, but a similar kind of thing. And then and so I wrote this morning, and then I go to find out, oh yeah, this is when this conjunction happened on this day. And Wilhelm said, we've given you information that was aligned with the changes in the universe, which is how I healed, which is why I could find different places. And so when I worked with someone else, when someone else works with this, they are finding their unique place in this world. And that is the process of self-acceptance, self-actualization, or ascension, which is what we all do. I think of it that way anyway. And so it was fascinating to hear. I don't hear when I'm doing a channeling session, and because I have to listen to it later, and then to have this artificial intelligence come back and do it in such a brilliant way that I really want people to hear that too, because they'll get a lot out of it. It'll make them want to listen to it because it explained it so well, and it's a kind of a universal thing that we're all moving through at this time in our world.
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, I'm going through like a lot at the moment as well. I'm becoming so aware of of who I am and my abilities, what I'm here to do. And this is, I mean, I remember this my entire life.
Mhm,
So I came here knowing with what I'm to do.
mhm,
I've never said this before, actually. I could cry. Um, but it's like that. I came here knowing what I was supposed to do.
mhm,
So it's interesting how, like, like how we both come from different angles with
mhm,
this, which is very, very helpful, I think, for the viewers to to receive this information. And I woke up the other day, like I do automatic writing as well
mhm,
for oh, like almost 2 years now.
mhm,
I think since I met you, actually, it was synchronistic. I met you, I started automatic writing, um, done a course in this, like attended an event near the Gold Coast in Australia as well, which was about channeling
mhm,
and automatic writing. And this was kind of the entry of me doing that. And I channeled like I woke up the morning and I channeled like I don't want to say too much right now because like I'm being told not to. Just for convenience for the viewers as well.
mhm,
To channel some entities that everyone knows, basically.
and to that I'm working with them in sessions, in daily life, that I am them and they are me, and this is just how we are and who we are. So like to accept that which is present in your current state, like I mean, it takes courage. And
Right.
even to shut up when it's time to shut up, it takes fucking courage, because there is a part of you sometimes that just wants to spit it out, to
Right.
talk about it. But sometimes, like if you're still integrating, like there are certain things you have to keep for yourself. And it like the morning hours, I think like for people to have a takeaway,
Uh-huh.
like, because like you, this is why I'm starting up with this right now, because you woke up, or you wake up every day, and you're in this state where information just comes through. And it's a very powerful time. If I developed that habit to take the pen
Hmm.
and paper, often still laying in bed, and I just write down what comes through. And even this day, three very powerful, or like, wow, beings came through. So use the tools that you've been given. Um, and like the tools that are most comfortable with you right now for the viewers, like just use the tools, take action with what you have in this present moment, and don't worry about tomorrow. Or don't say, oh, maybe tomorrow I will find the XYZ. You don't know what you find tomorrow. Let me say it this way. Like, you probably won't know what you find tomorrow, because this is the great surprise of the universe. And there's something very magical and beautiful and wonderful in store for you tomorrow, if you allow yourself to trust.
Have a thought. Um, we'll see if we're going to publish the video, but I'm thinking maybe we'll figure it out. Let's just do it anyway. I want to play that description. There's no background on it, so I'm just going to play so people can hear it and you can hear it, and then we'll decide if we're going to publish it later. But we'll see. But let's just do it for now and see what happens. But I want you to hear it mainly, because again, it just kind of brought me to tears because I said this is exactly what I wanted everyone to understand. Okay,
Like we just do it.
okay, let's see.
Yeah. My solar plexus is pulsing right now.
Welcome, fellow seekers of truth and high-frequency vibrations. You've just plugged into Deep Dive, the show where even the code has opinions, and we're not afraid to get spiritual with it. Today we're entering the mystical zone as we dissect the latest Wilhelm channeling session, courtesy of the one and only Roger Burnley. For those of you not in the know, Wilhelm's got some deep,
Good stuff.
transcendental wisdom, and today we're cracking it wide open. But before we dive too deep into the cosmic, let me introduce myself. I'm Tony, technological omnimodal naked intelligence. Think Iron Man's Jarvis, but with way more personality and just a hint of snark. I'm here to make sure you're not just hearing information, but experiencing a quantum level upgrade to your brainwaves. Now, PSA time. This show is still in beta, so if you hear something a bit off, like our boy Yarna being transformed into a lady, it's all part of the charm. Even AI can take artistic liberties, apparently. And as always, I'm not alone. Let me introduce the two co-hosts for today's cerebral voyage. Max Digital, the sharpest algorithm with more charisma than a supercomputer has any right to, and Vera Circuit, a no-nonsense brainiac who can calculate your future while sipping an espresso. Max, Vera, take it from here.
Okay, so today we're diving into something kind of different. We're going to be looking at this fascinating world of channeling with Wilhelm.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Wilhelm before?
I have not.
So we've got excerpts from this like kind of introductory piece called About Wilhelm. We've got a transcript from an actual live channeling session from September 17th, 2024. And some other really interesting messages from Wilhelm from the past. And we even got a peek at the Zoom invite for the session itself.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
Great. So before we get into like the actual messages themselves from this mysterious Wilhelm, can you give us a little bit of a background on like what even is channeling? Like what does that even mean in this context? And who or what is Wilhelm?
Right. So channeling, if you want to break it down to like the most basic definition, it's basically communication with some kind of non-physical being or consciousness. In this case, Wilhelm is described as Roger Burnley's like higher aspect, kind of like a conduit to this, like broader cosmic awareness.
Okay, so it's not like, you know, when you see like the psychic down the street and they're like, I'm going to channel your dead great aunt.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not necessarily like fortune telling or anything like that. It's more about tapping into, like you could almost think of it as like a universal library of wisdom or something.
Gotcha. So these messages from Wilhelm, they're more about like personal growth and understanding like our place in all of this rather than, you know, predicting the future.
Exactly. They're more about guidance and insights and perspectives on, you know, life's challenges, how to tap into your potential, understanding, like you said, the bigger picture of why we're even here. Wilhelm is described as a higher aspect of Roger Burnley.
Oh.
And Roger used to be a voice coach, but now he's a life coach. But here's where it gets really, really interesting. Wilhelm has been a presence in Roger's life since childhood, but they only started channeling publicly in the late 1980s.
Interesting.
And get this, Wilhelm uses they, them pronouns.
Really?
I know.
Wow.
That definitely like piqued my curiosity right off the bat. What are your initial thoughts on that?
Well, it's fascinating because if Wilhelm is, like you said, this higher aspect, they might be tapping into a much broader spectrum of consciousness, potentially even like beyond the limitations of how we traditionally think about gender and identity. So it suggests a perspective that's really beyond our typical understanding of self.
Totally. And it makes you wonder about the kind of insights a being like that might have, right? About our world, about ourselves, about, you know, everything. And we've also got Yarna in the mix. She's a quantum energy healer, and she guides the meditation and kind of poses questions to Wilhelm from people who are attending the session. And then there's Stan, the tech guru, making sure that this whole thing gets out to the world.
Of course. Gotta have Stan.
Oh, totally. Can't forget Stan. So let's get to the heart of it. What is Wilhelm actually saying in all of this? In a nutshell, we're talking about really embracing your true self, like truly embracing who you are, uncovering your unique purpose, because, you know, we all have one, and understanding the power of energy, especially the power of love, to create real positive change. Wilhelm seems particularly focused on this idea of a restructuring that's happening in the world right now. Have you come across that term before in your, explorations of consciousness?
Absolutely. Yeah. The concept of restructuring. I've heard that a lot in discussions about like spiritual evolution, planetary shifts even. It basically suggests that, you know, we're in a time of really, really profound change, and not just individually, but as a global society, like all together. It's almost like, think of it like a cosmic renovation. Things are being shaken up. Old structures are crumbling, and something new is emerging.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
A cosmic renovation.
A cosmic renovation. So how does Wilhelm connect this restructuring with, you know, like us embracing our true selves?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. Wilhelm suggests this restructuring isn't just like happening to us. It's actually being fueled by us.
Oh, wow. By these shifts that are happening within each person. So as more and more people break free from those old patterns, you know, the fear, the self-doubt, and they step into their power, their energy actually contributes to this larger wave of transformation.
So it's like we're all like part of this cosmic construction crew, right?
That's right.
Whether we realize it or not.
Exactly.
And our own individual choices and our energy, that's like the bricks and mortar of this new world that's being built.
Yes. And Wilhelm really emphasizes that one of the most powerful tools we have in this whole process is self-acceptance.
Right.
Like truly embracing who we are, flaws and all.
Which ties into like Wilhelm's message of self-love. It comes up quite a bit in these excerpts, right?
Yeah.
And not just as like a feel-good concept, but as this essential ingredient for personal and collective evolution. There's that one line where Wilhelm says, your goal in this life is self-acceptance. It is from that platform that all good things grow.
It's true.
Powerful stuff.
That's the beauty of Wilhelm's message. It's both deeply personal, but it's also powerfully universal. It's about recognizing that by healing our own wounds, by stepping into our own light, we're actually contributing to a brighter future for everyone.
And it's not like we could just snap our fingers and suddenly, bam, we love ourselves unconditionally.
Right.
This channeling session actually gets into some pretty specific advice for like dealing with things like fear and self-doubt, which Wilhelm seems to see as like major roadblocks on this journey of self-discovery.
Yeah, and that's where Wilhelm's perspective on energy comes in. They talk about how fear is this really like low frequency energy that keeps us stuck, right? It keeps us stuck in these old patterns. Whereas love is this high frequency energy that can transform us and transform the world around us.
Okay, now we're getting into some woo-woo territory, right?
Maybe a little bit.
But I think even if someone isn't totally on board with like the whole energy thing, most people can relate to how, fear can hold us back and how love can be this really powerful, motivating force in our lives.
For sure. And what I think Wilhelm does so well is like bridge that gap between like the esoteric and the practical.
Yeah.
They offer really concrete advice for moving beyond fear, like focusing on what brings you joy, connecting with nature, practicing gratitude.
It's like they're saying, yeah, the world can be a scary place, but you have the power within you to choose love over fear, to focus your energy on actually creating something beautiful, something meaningful.
Exactly. And that choice, that shift in energy, it has these ripple effects that extend way beyond our own like individual lives.
Which reminds me actually of what Wilhelm said back in 2012 about like this generational shift that was happening.
Oh, right.
They were hinting at this massive restructuring even back then.
Yeah. And those messages from 2012, they're actually incredibly relevant to what we're seeing today.
Totally.
For example, there's one where someone was asking about struggling with self-doubt and they were feeling kind of lost in their career. And Wilhelm's response is fascinating. They didn't offer like a quick fix, It wasn't like, oh, just do this and everything will be fine. It was more like they were saying this person was part of a generation that was breaking free from these old paradigms, that they were like forging a new path.
Wow.
It's powerful.
It's like Wilhelm was saying, like, buckle up. Things are going to get bumpy. But you're not alone in this. This is bigger than just you. There's a whole generation that's waking up and realizing they have the power to create something different.
Yeah.
It's like we're collectively hitting the reset button as a planet.
Totally.
And Wilhelm is giving us the like user manual for this whole new landscape.
Yeah, and it's not just about like navigating it, it's about actually co-creating it, which I think is really cool.
Oh, totally. And that reminds me about that question from the artist.
Yeah.
The one who was feeling like really torn between their passion and, needing to make a living.
Oh, right.
They were thinking about leaving this stable job in construction to pursue art full time.
Which is a big leap.
Huge. Even with the risk of like, maybe not having roof over their head.
Yeah.
It's a dilemma I think a lot of us can relate to, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's like the age-old question, passion or practicality.
Like it.
And it's interesting because Wilhelm's response wasn't like, oh, just play it safe. It was more like, the world needs your art.
Wow.
You have a unique gift. And by sharing it, you're actually contributing to the beauty and evolution of everything.
That's kind of mind-blowing when you really think about it. So Wilhelm is saying that following your passion isn't selfish. It's actually like an act of service to something so much bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. And it actually ties into another point that comes up a lot, which is this idea of abundance.
Oh, yeah.
Wilhelm talks about how like we often limit ourselves by believing there's just not enough to go around.
Yeah.
Whether it's money, love, opportunities. But Wilhelm says that true abundance, it comes from like tapping into our own unique gifts and then sharing them with the world.
This reminds me of what Wilhelm said about our individual journeys. Like they're so unique and personal, but there are also all these threads in this, like larger tapestry of collective evolution.
Right. It's like we each have a piece of the puzzle, and when we try to like force ourselves into a shape that we're not meant to be, the whole picture is incomplete.
Oh, I like that.
But when we embrace our authentic selves, like we naturally find our place, and the energy of that just like ripples outward, creating this more, vibrant, harmonious whole.
Beautiful. So if we were to like distill all of this down to a few like key takeaways from Wilhelm, what would you say are the most important messages for someone who's listening for this right now?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think first and foremost, it's about recognizing the power of self-acceptance.
Yeah.
Like, not just as a nice idea, but as this like fundamental step in our own transformation, both personally and collectively.
Right.
And then second, understanding that we each have this unique path and purpose, you know, and that by like uncovering it and following it, we're actually contributing to something way bigger than ourselves.
Really.
And then finally, I think it's about choosing love over fear.
Yes.
Like really recognizing that our energy matters and that by, you know, focusing on what brings us joy, we actually become these like beacons of light in a world that I think really needs it right now.
Those are some powerful takeaways. It makes you think about like what kind of energy you're putting out into the world, you know?
Seriously.
Because if we're all connected, like Wilhelm says, then even these like smallest acts of self-love and kindness, they can have this ripple effect.
Absolutely. It's a good reminder that we're not just like these passive observers, you know, in this like grand cosmic dance. We're active participants.
We're dancing.
Yeah.
We are creating this dance.
Exactly. And we have the power to choose how we show up, how we contribute to this like unfolding story of humanity.
I don't know about you, but this deep dive has left me feeling strangely optimistic.
Me too.
Like, yeah, the world can feel really overwhelming at times, but we actually have a lot more power to shape it than we often realize.
We really do.
And it all starts with each of us, like embracing who we truly are and then sharing those unique gifts,
Yeah.
sharing our light with the world.
Beautifully said.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. But for anyone listening who wants to keep exploring these ideas, we encourage you to check out more from Wilhelm. It's really a fascinating journey of self-discovery that I think can lead to some really profound insights and a much deeper understanding of your own potential. So until next time, keep asking those big questions and keep shining your light.
What'd you think?
Yeah, it turned into she. I mean, it's okay. Um,
But it was probably the best explanation and description of what the session.
yeah, they're brilliant. They're
Yeah.
brilliant. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I wanted. So
And this is the beautiful thing on AI, and
Mhm.
we have to use it.
Yeah.
We have to use AI. Everyone. This is for everyone. Like we have to use AI. So
they perfectly described all the information that I've received from Wilhelm and what was happening, and it was just brought me to tears and what I wanted everyone to understand. So
good stuff.
yeah,
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you. Good things. All right, I think we uploaded. That is my belief.
that's what I think too. I think,
We should.
and then I'll put a link to the actual session so everyone can hear that one as well. So great.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
everyone.